I think we're working. Okay. So anyway, I'll just leave that on. So there's two big things I really want to talk about today. One is rights, and the other is communicate. Because a lot of times that's just as important as any of the other things that we've talked about. Because if you don't communicate in a way that people can understand or not feel defensive, a lot of times it just blows everything. And also that means, that it makes it a whole lot easier if you're going to, resolve differences. If you have any kind of conflict.
Shelley?
Hi. So I'll leave these on the table. So, well, not if I don't grab one. I'm doing a lot of editing.
Oh, you're working this afternoon. Oh, I thought you were Shelley.
No.
Hi.
Hi.
Not Shelley.
No. No, Shelley. Not Shelley. Okay, what we're talking about today is rights, and that's the last part of our 4-part series on the 4 R's that are regard, respect, responsibility, and rights. And I say rights for the last because of all the things we've talked about. What it all boils down to is you have the right to control your body. You have the right to say no. You have the right to change your mind. If you have been in a relationship with someone and if you've had sexual contact with them in the past, that does not mean that they have the right to have sexual contact with you without your consent. So the whole thing about rights is consent. And if you're drunk or you're high, you're unconscious or you're sleeping, you can't legally give your consent. If someone says, oh yeah, she was drunk, but she said it was okay, wrong. You have to be able to give your consent and understand it and mean it. And and a lot of people think that that's real difficult or embarrassing, that kind of thing. Asking if you can do something, asking if you can go a little further or if it's okay, that's really kind of romantic. It's not embarrassing as much as it's romantic, and it's really nice to know that somebody respects you enough to ask. And if you guys, and I know some of you have been in some awful relationships, some of you are still suffering a lot of PTSD from sexual abuse, whether it was a friend, a relative, even a husband, sexual abuse is illegal. If you are traumatized, it's illegal. Even if you're part of like the BDSM community, you have to have safe words. You have to be able to withdraw your consent.
Pineapple.
At any time. Excuse me?
Pineapple is what Kevin Hart said.
Yes.
Pineapple. We ain't there yet. Mm-mm.
Yes, absolutely. You have the right to withdraw your consent. And also, I wanted to let you know that there are some brand new therapies out there for PTSD that are working miracles.
For sexual abuse specifically?
For sexual abuse and any other traumas too. For PTSD, and some of them have to do with touch and with eye movement, and it's amazing how it works. So it doesn't mean you have to spend the next 2 years rewriting about your trauma over and over and over again, which is the way a lot of therapists have dealt with it.
Before, right.
Yeah.
And it's about as stupid as hitting yourself with the hammer again just to show that you had it. Yeah.
After a while, it just stops hurting because it's dead.
No, it don't stop hurting. Then I have to cut off the finger because it went gangrene.
That's right. Absolutely. Okay. But yeah. So if you're still easily triggered, if you need to make changes in yourself, don't give up. Make the phone call and ask if someone is trained in trauma. because sexual abuse is trauma, and somebody needs to be trained in how to deal with it. Now, just going to the counselor down the road might not be enough.
Crap.
Right. Right.
Right. A lot of stuff about that, actually.
Yeah, and there's, they haven't been, specifically trained to deal with trauma. And there are good counselors out there that have that. Okay? So, one of the things I wanted to say is what's the legal definition of rape. Now, in each state, it's a little bit different, but the FBI has a uniform code, and it says, rape is defined as the penetration, no matter how slight, of the vagina or anus with any body part or object, or oral penetration by a sex organ of another person without the consent of the victim. That's rape. If somebody touches you in a way that you do not give them permission to do, you're not giving your consent, it's rape. Okay. And I also have the National Rape Crisis Hotline. Does somebody need to go and talk? Is she okay?
My mom is in there.
Okay. So I have, I know there's probably local numbers around in Meadville and in Oil City, but this is the national hotline for rape. So hang on to this one. Okay. So other than just sex, when I started looking up for what are your rights in a relationship, I Googled it. Oh my God, I got page after page of rights. And so what I did is I actually chose two. And there's one on the back that you guys could look at your leisure. But the one that I like the best is the one that I have here in blue. And it's your relationship rights. It's to be respected and treated as an equal. To say no to someone who asks you out. To suggest activities or refuse activities. To have your own feelings and ideas and to share them without worrying about how your partner will react. To speak up when you think your dating partner's actions or language are unfair or hurtful. To have limits and values respected. To refuse physical touch with anyone at any time for any reason. To have friends and space. And to leave a relationship when you need to do that. You have the right to say it's over. You have the right to say no. And I love this little picture. It's hard to see it, but it says sex by consent only. If you don't know if you have consent, ask. And that goes for, males or females, because, people in a same-sex relationship can also sexually abuse another person. It's still rape if you don't have consent. It doesn't have to be between men and women. So that's most of it about your rights. The biggest thing is always remember it's your right to say no. Okay. So I got some other stuff to give you guys. I don't even know why. Excuse me? I know. So we're off for a little while. Okay. Thank you. This is the first thing I ever taught as a teacher, and it's one of my absolute favorites. And I mean, I'm going back to probably before most of you guys, but I love them. It's called iMessages. And iMessages are really cool because when used correctly, you can confront a person You can ask a person to make a change or do something different, and you can do it in a way that doesn't make them feel defensive. Because I don't know about you guys, but when somebody tells me I gotta do something, yeah. Yeah. I will plant my feet and say no, because it's my choice. So when you use iMessages, you're giving somebody the choice to make changes because you're only responsible for you. You're not responsible for them. If they don't want to make changes, then what do you have the right to do? Leave, ignore, go away, don't need to deal with it. So when you talk about iMessages, what you talk about first is what your emotional reaction is to whatever is going on. Okay. It's not you hurt my feelings as much as my feelings are hurt. I feel really hurt because you were late and you didn't call, and I was worried that something was wrong. Which is a whole lot nicer than saying, you're a jerk because you were late. And somebody is going to listen to you with those iMessages. Now, iMessages is the important thing is the feeling. And what we confuse a lot of time is the difference between a thought and a feeling. And there's a huge difference. If you say, I feel like, you're going into a thought. If you say, I feel, and then you have a whole bunch of words behind it, it's a thought. It's not a feeling. A feeling is generally one word, maybe two. You're hurt, you're happy, you're angry. And if you look on the second page, I have all kinds of feeling words. And these are all one word. You can feel.
This is like the smiley faces?
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Your feelings can be just one word. And you want to use an actual emotion word. A feeling is an emotion, and it's not a thought. It's a gut. It comes from here. Thoughts come from here, but your emotions come from here. Okay? So if you say, I feel like, you're going into a thought.
Okay.
So remember your emotions. I feel hurt, I feel happy, I feel sad. There's a bunch of them here you can use, and they work. So the iMessage is basically I feel because when and what I need. I feel sad because I think maybe you don't like me when you roll your eyes and I talk, and I wish that we could talk about it. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but I'm being honest about that. And it's also great for conflict resolution. And I bet that's an important thing when you got a whole bunch of people living together, too. I'm sure there are conflicts. You're probably an expert at conflict resolution. She rolls her eyes at me.
Yes.
Okay.
I roll my eyes all the time. If I roll my eyes at people, I'm sorry. It's just.
Actually, I was just using
it's just
it
out
as
of habit. Believe
No,
me.
I don't.
No,
think I
when I
ever-
roll my eyes, it's all the words I can't say out loud right
That's
now.
right.
In
That's
mixed
right.
company. Uh-huh.
Especially when
Yeah,
you're
see,
talking
I
about-
recognize
Well,
that
just
you mean
because,
when you
right,
roll your eyes.
right, and
Yes,
just because,
absolutely.
conflict resolution last night.
Yeah, and it's a tough one.
Because it's not the same as if it's between me and one other person.
No.
It's different when it's me, what is that called? Mediating.
Yes, absolutely.
Because
Absolutely. That's a
if I
tough
have
job.
to mediate, I haven't had, in that moment, I can't get confirmation from both people that they even are at the same level I am at
Right.
with communication,
Right.
much less that they want this to be a
Yes.
resolution.
Yes.
So that's a
tough one. Yes, it is. Conflict resolution is a killer. It
touchdown.
really is. Yes. So the things to remember in conflict resolution is
Mhm.
to respect each other and to respect that you have the right to disagree. You don't always have to agree to come to a resolution. in a
Right.
conflict.
You can agree to
Sometimes-
disagree.
Yes, sometimes you can agree to disagree. And you can express your real concerns. The big thing is to do it one at a time so you're not raising your voice over somebody else. But what are your concerns? And again, that goes into the I message.
Mhm.
If something's happening and you're having an emotional, which happens most of the time in conflict
Right.
resolution,
That's
is
why
you're
there's a
having,
conflict in the first
Yes.
place.
you're having an emotional reaction to something somebody is doing,
Mhm.
and if you can use your I messages then you're not blaming, you're just talking about what you are feeling.
Right. It's not about every time you have felt this way. It's about this particular
Yes,
situation.
absolutely.
This person is not responsible for any of the others.
Right. Absolutely.
You
You come work with me whenever I do my classes.
Take her.
Oops.
Get me out of the house.
Yeah, you need out of the house for a little bit.
Yeah, and open yourself up to the other points of view that other people have. If you keep your mind slammed shut, you're not even willing to listen if somebody else has an idea that maybe isn't a big conflict. Maybe it's something that you can all use. But if you're all upset about it and you're not listening, nobody's going to get in. Your ears are closed. Your mind is shut.
Mhm.
So listen carefully to the things that people propose and give them a chance to talk about what they believe or what they feel.
Right, because you've been raised differently.
Right?
Like a difference of environments doesn't just have to do with being from other countries.
No.
It could be from the same town, but your parents had different
Oh, yeah.
backgrounds.
Yeah.
So what triggers you comes from your specific environment
Yes.
growing up. And even though theirs were in similar places, it could have been done differently. And that is where your conflict has come up.
A lot of
Not
times.
because you can't agree on the thing that made it blow.
Right. And one of the
Shelley's
things.
here.
Shelley lives here now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you got somebody new? Oh my goodness. You got a full house? Close.
Did my eyes roll that time again?
Marcia, you ready? 1, 2, 3.
And the other thing is different cultures react differently. I came from a family, we were not allowed to raise our voices. Not permitted. We were not allowed to make a lot of noise.
Oh.
My dad built my house. It was my most important sibling. He loved the house more than he loved his kids. I know he did, but we learned to live with it, so we were quiet all the time. I got around
Shelley,
people,
you can come on in.
I got around people who would, raise their voices just when they're talking. My
Mhm.
sister married into an Italian family,
Oh.
and they're
Come
always
sit down.
talking fast. And
Come sit next to you and your roommate, too.
And I was intimidated by that. I
Mhm.
realized that was just the way they communicated.
Yep. Caribbeans. Hello.
Yes. Yeah. And a lot of people of color from down south
Mm-hmm.
raise their
Passionate.
voices a lot.
Mhm.
And a lot of times, somebody of a different color, especially somebody who's white, thinks that they're always being angry or
Right.
they feel scared or
Yeah.
intimidated. And it's just the way somebody's communicating.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important to listen to what somebody is saying,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times even more than the tone of their voice.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't know in their family or in their culture that
Good.
tone of voice.
Didn't mean aggressive. It just meant passionate.
Right, absolutely. And a lot of times you just don't know
Mhm.
until you learn that. And think about the consequences of, once you guys have done some brainstorming, and the thing I love about brainstorming, you can come up with any wild idea and it's valid. I mean, you could say, let's close the house down and I'll run away and, okay, that's on the list. When you're brainstorming and everybody.
You got any good ideas for me today?
Shut the house down. Let's go.
Let's run, babe.
I'm ready.
But, if you're doing some brainstorming and you're just coming up with ways to solve the conflict, solve the problem, anything is valid.
Mm-hmm.
Because later you can go over that list and see which ones you can use. But for the beginning, when you're brainstorming, anything is valid. Anything
There's no
is valid.
stupid answers.
Right. There are never stupid questions. There are never stupid answers. And you negotiate and you do it mutually. Negotiation is the biggest thing in conflict resolution and good communication.
It's the same lady. And this is today's.
There we go.
You missed 1, 2, and 3. This is number 4.
Yes, she did.
She came into the Y on day number 1,
Oh, okay.
but then I guess she had something else to do. She left.
Okay. But you're here now.
And now
right?
she's here officially, so
Awesome.
she's here.
Cool. Awesome. So those are the big things that I want you guys to take with you. You know, we talked about regard, love yourself. And that's a tough one. But the more you love yourself, the more you are able to be involved with other people in a healthy way. Because that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, right.
Give her back her phone, Zach.
You got to think positive and kind of keep encouraging the other person to do well.
Yes.
You can't feed them negativity and expect something
Positive.
positive.
Yes.
Oh, Shelly.
All right. Awesome.
know this.
Absolutely.
You should have come since the beginning, Shelly.
Yes.
Because last week we got. We got a whole gift bag.
Oh,
I
yes.
know, Shelly. Shelly is an expert on certain topics here.
Awesome. See, I should have been here. We had fun.
We
had a lot of talk. It was
I
fun
am
talking about
quite
this.
talented.
I told
I like
She
to
a lion.
blow 'em up and
She
tie
is-
'em for
Oh my
balloons.
God, that's funny.
you. She's quite talented. I like
That's
that way of
great.
putting
Oh
it.
my God, that's just awesome.
Okay.
So I've done a lot of talking
Uh-huh.
today. Yeah. Can I get some feedback from you guys? Some ideas about all the things I've been running past you?
Well, yeah, you gotta be nice and kind and polite to the other person.
Absolutely.
And you gotta show them with love and compassion.
Yes.
And how should I put it? Ladyship or what am I looking for? Help me out, girl.
Tuna baby, and I lost track of what's going on here.
You gotta help your sisters out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sisterhood. Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yay. I hope he doesn't go this far in this film. looking at me.
All right, now.
But sisterhood is,
Love you
especially
to
in a house
death.
like this, it's what it's all about. You know, we need to take care of each other, and we need to be able to.
And you got
each
to
other
get
safe.
along.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, Shelly, how do you handle this one?
Which one?
This is the official definition of rape on the FBI website. What do you do when, even if you have said yes before, the next time you may know, and he, because that's what we go with for you, he still wants to think that your past yes is a yes to this time too.
No,
Alrighty,
it's
girl.
not. No means no.
All right. You're cool. I'm going to end it with that because that is awesome. No means no. Thank you so much.
She's
Oh,
going to be
I
coming
wish
every
you'd
Wednesday.
been here for all 4 weeks.
And
Oh
she's
my
gonna
God,
come
you're
back every
awesome.
Wednesday for rest of the summer, maybe? You're going to do this through the summer?
Oh, my daughter
No, I'm actually
going
gonna do it through May.
psychology.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Don't let her think your brain.
She's
If she
doing
get in, she might never come
Oh,
out.
I know what I have
She's doing
somewhere.
it this
and I
year
didn't
in
do
college.
last
Nice.
time. Guys, I need you to do these. I don't know.
You didn't do last week.
No, I didn't.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I didn't. I don't know if that's 1 or 2 there.
Mm-mm. It's 2.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
You don't have to put your name, but just what do you think about Miss Donna's presentation today?
I might have some pens too somewhere.
I would have to say strongly agree with all of them,
Thank you. I like that.
even though I can't see them. But I see that.
That's awesome. No. It's
I
good.
got you, girlfriend.
Okay, here we go. I have some pens. I have some pens.
I was gonna say,
Can you
what is on your
Oops.
feet?
Is it too small to read? Can you help
No,
me
Shelley,
with
you don't have
that?
on her glasses.
Yeah, go ahead. Isn't it a great color? I love it. And anybody need notebooks for journals? Thank you.
For
Yeah.
those who weren't here,
I didn't get one.
right? Anybody need a pen? Everybody got a pen? All right.
I got me a purple pen.
So I have one more left. I'll leave it here for anybody that wants a journal.
I got one.
All right, you got it.